Hi guys, Rhiannon here, and today I wanted to offer you 3 tricks for taking direction in a live session. I have heard from quite a few of my previous employers that one of the things they love most about working with me is my ability to take direction. And I think if more people had access to that skill, they could increase the amount of work they get, especially recurring work from previous employers. So yeah, here are 3 things I think are very important. Number 1, leave your ego at the door. I say this a lot, and I said it recently on a Twitter thread, and I stand by it with all my heart. In a directing scenario, your job is to take critique. Take critique and apply it without taking it personally, and this is so important. You really slow down a session if you spend lots of time defending your choices. For example, you deliver a line, and then the director says, "Good, can you do it in a more melancholy way?" And if you say, "Oh, I thought that was melancholy," doesn't matter. The point is they didn't hear it in a melancholy way, and you're wasting time trying to justify a choice. If they say, "Do it in a more melancholy way," you need to quickly go, "Well, I thought that was melancholy. Guess it wasn't. I'll put a little more in it." And then maybe they'll say, "Oh, that still isn't what I'm after." And then you can make a point of going, "Okay, let's discuss that." Rather than taking it to a personal place of, "Oh, but I did that." If they don't hear it, you didn't do it. Just accept it. It doesn't matter. That's fine. You'll also be in sessions where there are lots of people on the call, possibly talking about you like you're not there, being quite seemingly cold and quite critical of your work. You've got to be able to take that and not take it to heart. You can't have a breakdown, okay? So make sure you're able to be Teflon. Let it slide right off you. Take the direction. Keep going. So number 1, ego at the door. Number 2, this is a really important one in my opinion, and that is layering your direction. And this is something I think a lot of people forget if you haven't had formal acting training. And that is when you're given direction, it doesn't mean disregard all the other direction you've been given. You need to layer that direction on top of the direction you've already received. For example, you're in a commercial session. There's 10 lines to the piece. The director says, "Hey, can you do the first line faster?" And then the script writer says, "Oh, and can you make the whole thing a little more fun?" Great. You do a read through, you do the first line faster, and you make the whole thing a little more fun. Then they step in and go, "Okay, somebody else said they want more gravitas in the second half, and they'd also like the third line a little slower." Now, they did not say scrap that, or they did not say, "Okay, fresh take." Therefore, you still need to do the first line faster, give the whole thing a bit more fun, do the third line a little bit slower, and add gravitas to the second half. So, if you're not great at holding a lot of different ideas in your head at once, which I am not, it's great to have either a notepad in your booth, or in my case, I like to use the Sticky Notes app and have a little sticky note next to my script, and I write it down as we go. That way, right before I read a take, I go, "Okay, yes, and I take it all in again. Or you can annotate your script directly. But essentially, if you aren't applying all the direction at once, layering it on as requested, you're wasting time. If you think there is a piece of direction that is contradictory, for example, they said add more gravitas to the second half, but make the whole thing more fun, and you're like, does gravitas counteract the fun? Then ask. Go, "Okay, so we're keeping the whole thing more fun. Do you want me to scrap the fun and add the gravitas in the second half?" And they might go, "Yes." And they might go, "No, try and combine them." Fine. But I'm still going to do that first line faster and that third line slower at the end of the day, and keep it going until they say, "All right, now I want to try something totally different." And then we reset the slate. So, secondly, layer your direction. And the third thing, and it's so basic, is practice. It is really hard to practice getting live direction because we're not in live sessions all the time. It's like being a performer on stage. If you're not getting up in front of people regularly, you can get quite nervous. I do. So it's important to put yourself in that situation as often as you can. The best way to do that is to either get coaching, and if you can't afford a coach, then getting together with a group of fellow VAs in a Discord server and saying, "Hey, can anyone jump on and try directing me for the next sort of 5-10 minutes, just so you can practice applying direction quickly, not becoming overwhelmed by being critiqued, and of course, layering on multiple aspects of direction. If you get into the flow of it, eventually it will become second nature and you won't struggle with any of those concepts. So there it is, 3 tips. Leave your ego at the door, layer your direction, practice, and that's all I have to say, and I really hope it helps you out in your next live session. Thanks, guys!